All right, Steph, Tori, as you get settled in your own words, who are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Steph, you want to kick us off?
Sure. Hi, I'm Steph Hoppe, VP of Omnichannel Marketing, Casey's. Some of you may not know Casey's. It's an unknown publicly traded C-store that's the 5th largest pizza chain in the country, 3rd largest C-store chain, has about 9.6 million loyalty members.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tori Carter. I'm with KFC and Yum Brands. Been there about 12 years. I lead our integrated marketing communications department. And I'm sure many of you do know KFC, but unfortunately, you probably know him more for that guy than our awesome food. So that's the journey that we're on.
Steph, I feel like you flexed on us a little bit with those loyalty members. You just slipped it in at the end. 9.6. Wow. That's incredible.
9.6, yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, okay, hey, as we start this conversation on consumer trust, I would love to understand if today, as you look out at the marketing landscape around you, and it doesn't have to just be in QSR, is there another brand or a recent campaign that caught your eye as like, in this moment with what people are looking for, they're nailing that. Like they have figured it out.
Sure. IKEA, Wherever Life Goes campaign. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's heartfelt but lightly funny. So key moments, getting married. You see a couple kiss and then up pops the price of a king bed. It's hilarious. But it takes these lovely cultural moments, a little bit of humor, but yet delivers a brand message that I think just is very unique, and they nailed it.
Yeah, I love that. I love IKEA's work. I think the campaigns that I think about that are super effective right now are really leaning into voice of consumer and what the consumer wants, and then finding the culturally relevant way to connect the brand. And I think storytelling around, especially in the sense of trust, like the functional product attribute that is going to fulfill the need of the consumer in a creative way. So it's asking a lot, I think, of storytelling right now within advertising, but I think that's really critical. I think IKEA does such a good job of that, like in the a couple years ago now, but the ads with the proudly second best with the moms and the baby, like literally simplest ad, but clearly is speaking to a real truth about consumers in a really creative way. Apple does a nice job, I think, as well in terms of really showing the product and then how it can get you out of a sticky situation, RIP Leon. So, yeah.
I love that you brought it back to the consumer. So let's talk about the consumer. And within the QSR space, people that participate in this category, they are not a monolith. And so I'm imagining there are some pretty big differences if I look at your core customer versus your core customer. Tell me a bit right now about what their mindset looks like for your guests. Tor, if you can kick us off and tell us about, for KFC, like, what do they care about? Are they timid right now? Are they seeking out bold food experiences? Like, what matters to them?
Yeah, so we are in such an interesting spot in the brand, and if you've been following along KFC at all lately, we publicly kind of announced that we're on this comeback journey because of the chicken wars. I see you guys out there, but the category's really heated up. I think fried chicken's gotten really hard. Everyone's playing in it, so even the obvious chicken wars, but I know we've got McDonald's in here as well, and some of the other burger guys that are playing really strong in chicken as well. So that's been really challenging for us, and I think we are looking at our core customer and figuring out what they want, and we know them very, very well. I think who we don't know very well is the people that are very aware of our brand and love our brand, actually, quite frankly. I'm sure all of you are like, oh yeah, KFC, like I have a really good story about that when I was a kid. I think this came up in the Dairy Queen message as well. But if I were to ask you all the last time you chose to go eat at a KFC, probably not very recent. So our job right now is actually to really start to get to know that future customer that's going to stabilize our brand again. And we're working really hard to do that through getting back to our roots, as well as trying to get really in tune with what is the consumer saying that they want from us and trying to directly answer those asks as opposed to being so brand out.
And Steph, what about you?
Sure. We're all about unexpected goodness, serving up unexpected goodness daily. So our customers are thinking, what the heck are they going to do next? So on our 40th pizza birthday, we did pizzas 40% off. We shut down the system. I broke the operations. It was better than we ever could possibly have thought. But we took that nugget because they loved it, and then we took that idea and expanded it. So this fall, we did a partnership with Cooper DeJean, who's a great Iowa boy, grew up in Waukee, socially helped us launch Noonday Kickoff. So a lot of people got upset when college football on Saturdays became morning tailgating. Well, we have a breakfast pizza that's really good. We have beer, because we're a KCC store, and you can take it to a tailgate. And by the way, our busiest days, Saturdays, football games, we're doing pizzas 40% off. And it's knocking it out of the park. So really delivering a culturally relevant moment with a really good offer. They're just curious, excited to see what we're going to do. And spoiler alert, we introduced wings and fries in the Des Moines DMA.
Another one.
I know. I felt FOMO. I felt like I was missing out. Gosh. So we're going to do chicken. But, you know, a lot of us, we're in small markets, towns of 5,000 or less. So we can be the wings place. We are the wing stop in Algona, Iowa, where I grew up. We are the pizza place. So that really speaks to our guest.
Yeah, and you said you took down the POS system with that promotion.
Oh, yeah. Well,
So
yeah.
did you come back into the office to find your COO was installing thinner walls like we just learned to make sure they were ahead of it next time?
Something like that.
Goodness.
No, actually, operations was a great partner. We did after meeting and figured out what we didn't do, and we fixed it. And next time we did it, it was awesome.
Like Ross and Friends, QSR folks know how to pivot and find the good. So let's talk a little bit about how consumers are trending over time. Just as your audiences are not a monolith, they're also their preferences and their tastes and the things they care about don't stay the same month over month or year over year. Are you seeing what your customers are looking for has changed meaningfully over the last year? And if so, how are you tracking that shift in time?
Sure, happy to. Yeah, I think for us, like in general with the category, consumer preference on how you have chicken has definitely changed. And I think, you know, if I were to ask all of you, what is the type of chicken format that you associate us most blatantly with? It's a chicken on the bone in a big bucket that you share with family. And I think that's where many people's memories are. But the reality is things are much more fast-paced these days. People are looking for, you know, portable chicken. They're looking for sandwiches, for wings, for tenders. And the irony is we have all of those, and they're damn good, by the way. Finger-licking good, if I may. But I think, like, we have a big job now to ensure that everyone knows that we have those, and that we start coming into their consideration set when they're, after those more modern ways of eating.
Yeah, it's really seasonal for us. So we launched a brand new coffee program in January. So we gave free coffee to our loyalty members for a month and created a habit. And then in the summer, it's road trip time. So we sell a lot of pizza, but in the C-store space, it's 89-cent fountain. So another way to just kind of curate value at that time in the moment that it means. And then again, the 40% off pizzas in the fall. So we ebb and flow with and breakfast sandwiches too. So we have a lot of levers that we can pull from a value standpoint, and we just watch what takes, what doesn't. And then, by the way, people tell us when they want things back. The maple bacon waffle sandwich, they wanted it back, so we did. Brisket pizza, they were screaming for it. So sometimes value isn't a discount. Value is delivering exactly what the consumer wants, what they love, at a high quality.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more on the value piece, and I know we all couldn't agree more, and that's obviously like a very prevalent trend right now, I think, no matter what restaurant you're running at the moment. And I think it's a great way, again, like taking it back to the theme of the panel, to build that trust or to invite them back to the brand. So when we launched our comeback campaign this summer, where we got really back to the roots of who we were. So Colonel Sanders is back. He's looking pretty good in all of our advertising. We really brought back that like bold, fresh, punchy tone of voice to our social that everyone kind of associates with the brand. And we brought an offer, a really wow value offer on the app of a free bucket on us. So it was our way of inviting people back to the KFC brand. Free bucket of COB, but also free bucket of tenders was what we were really trying to relay with that. And it gave us our biggest digital sales day ever with that offer. So, you know, I think using value as a way to kind of extend a branch back to either new customers that you were trying to acquire or customers that you're trying to bring back can be really powerful to give them a reason to revisit the brand. And then you kind of do see that compound effect to your point. Yeah.
Yeah, you're speaking to a little bit actually also the conundrum, I think, of the space, which is value in this moment is so tied to price, percent off, dollar off, whatever it may be. Are there other ways of communicating value? Are there other ways that value is taking shape at your brand? And how do you think about pulling that definition into your marketing efforts?
I'd say for Casey's in particular, the value is in our guest experience because our team members care. They know your name. We get the highest scores I've ever seen in the history of my career in C-store and or restaurant because of the friendliness of our staff. And that will keep people coming. When you know somebody, you take care of somebody, we're deep into the communities, we're deep into charitable giving. That adds value that is, well, we would say priceless.
Yeah, I think the consumers like redefined a bit of value. They for sure definitely want the 2 for $4 or the 5 for $5 or something for $5. They definitely want it to be really affordable, but they don't want to compromise, I don't think either, is what we've found. So I think, you know, whenever we're working on a value deal, we need to, of course, ensure that it's profitable for us, but we have to make sure it's still something that the consumer wants and it's still something that's useful for them. And I think you can break trust very quickly by saying, you know, hey, here's a, you know, $5 sandwich, but then you come in and it's, you know, a wimpy tender on a bun. I'm not calling anyone out. I'm just kidding. But I think for the, you know, we recently did a $3.99 sandwich deal. I'm channeling the Colonel right now. The tone of voice is with me. No, but I think like we put our sandwich on sale again to try to drive reconsideration and acquisition and awareness of our chicken sandwich, which is great, by the way. And it's really large and it's big. And so I think for those who tried it at that $3.99 price point that we ran it for, you know, hopefully they were delivered on, you know, on a good offering for that. I think the ops thing though is so relevant too, right? Like for us, we've really got to work with ops to ensure that that value is perceived in the experience as well. Yeah.
I'm going to pull in one of our favorite marketing adages of sales overnight, brand over time. As you think about value strategy within your marketing message right now, how are you balancing that? Because today there's such pressure on, we got to get people in the door. We're looking at our same store sales comps and it's a little in the red. How do you find the way to communicate that, yes, we need to be driving people in right now, today, and over the weekend, but we can't lose sight of that longer tail that takes time to develop? Really, how are you balancing the funnel?
We recrafted our social strategy, really balancing the brand messaging and really using that channel much more heavily. Q1 results, publicly traded company, we were very positive in traffic, very positive in sales. So it's working. It's balancing that, again, the experience of the brand, the consistency in the brand, and then the relevant messaging at the relevant time, looking at creative, how we flex that so that it's relevant to the individual that's receiving that communication that day.
And Tori, for you?
Yeah, I think it's so challenging. I think we probably all feel that, especially those of us in franchised business environments, because frankly, they don't get it when you bring a big idea that you think could be earned. So I think for us, yes, we're definitely working with our new social agency to try to ensure that we're having those brand building opportunities in affordable ways. You can't always expect the home run, but yeah, it can be really powerful. Like when we brought wedges back, we simply put out a post that said, "Here, damn," and a picture of the wedges. So the potato wedge is something that customers have been, they will tell you what you want, guys, in the social comments. So they've been telling us for years, they want us to bring those potato wedges back. And we just literally brought them back. Yeah, right. And we're like, here, damn. And I've like 80 billion, I want to say billion views. That might be wrong. Yeah, I need my social friend here. But yeah, just crazy. And it like drove sales. So I think the moral of the story with brand is you have to get creative and just try to take as many swings as you can while you're trying to build sales and see how you can merge those worlds. So ensuring the sales objective is closely attached, but not necessarily shadowing the brand building moment. So it's tricky. It's like an art and a science together, I feel like, is the way we have to do it in this industry. Because I think there's, yeah, like what does it say? Like 80, 20 or something like that in terms of percentage of what you should, maybe it's 60-40, investing in brand over sales. But in the QSR category, I don't think that's possible. So you have to find ways to do both at the same time.
It's a little early to be pulling in math, but
I know, I can't do it, guys. Creative through and through over here as well, so.
So both of you talked about experience, and if we're going to talk about experience in QSR, we have to talk about digital. And I know both of you are making big efforts within that space. Talk to me a little bit then about how you're considering the digital experience as a lever in terms of improving customer satisfaction, building that confidence to come to your brand over another for any variety of reasons that a digital unlock can provide. So, Steph, I'd love to start with you. Talk to me a bit about your digital strategy.
Hence the mention of the 9.6 million loyalty members. We will lean into our digital channels for them. And we've got a deep segmentation study, so we understand their behaviors. If they're new, if they're frequent, if they're slightly frequent, they're about to churn. So again, we can strategically send the right message at the right time. On our digital channels, we're also looking at, we're doing digital creative optimization. Ongoing, KSM is our agency for media, and they've done a dynamite job with our media mix modeling to really optimize our mix and our channels. And we look at that every 8 weeks. We're looking at it every day from a sales standpoint. Power BI, we live and die by Power BI at Casey's. So you live and die by the numbers. A lot of ex-military at our leadership, so we are very disciplined and are held highly accountable to make our numbers in a very positive way, by the way, because the company's culture is absolutely amazing. But the digital experience is key, especially with e-commerce becoming so important for our business.
Yeah, it's the same. Again, I think we heard about this yesterday too from churches, but just how do we continue to engage customers and build those relationships through digital channels? So yeah, I think like ultimately when we look at digital as sort of this separate arm, that's not right because the world is becoming digital. So that's going to ultimately be the place, I think, where we start to really be able to build those true brand relationships, building brand over time. Like I think it's bringing it to those platforms and ensure that they're really well integrated into what you're doing from a marketing perspective. So I don't lead our Omnichannel program, but my colleague Sam is brilliant and runs all of our app channels. And we've just been making a really conscious effort of, you know, instead of you sort of running this individual business on the side, like how do we really ensure that everything you're doing is integrated into our marketing comms plan for the window to make sure that we're offering that digital experience, which is also something that customers want. They want that ease. They want that, that experience.
Love it. Okay, well, Steph, you said you live and die by Power BI, so I'm going to keep you in the hot seat as we're talking about metrics. How do you quantify, can you quantify trust as an indicator of success with your customers? How do you evaluate if you are improving or losing out in consumer confidence?
We have a very deep brand tracker that does monitor trust, all of that. The brand love, which is one of my favorites. And we look at our core markets and our non-core markets. So our newer markets where people don't understand what a Casey's is, gas station pizza, what the hell? Or our core markets where it's, oh my God, I love your gas station pizza. So yeah, woohoo! But no, it's really a matter of the different metrics. We also have a deep social monitoring and metrics, watching how we're improving with Gen Z, the different cohorts, and we set goals that we were held accountable again for, and it's just an ongoing monthly, let's take a look, how are things moving, and it's in our DNA.
Yeah, and then Tori, for you?
I was going to say, I'll let Steph handle the math and metrics questions because she's clearly got a leg up on me on that. Yeah.
No worries. Well, then we'll just keep it moving. So
I mean, similar. Of course, we have brand trackers and we use Power BI as well. Yeah, just so everyone knows I'm not totally out in La La Land.
We're ditto together.
I was like, this is a good,
we're good. We're good. What she
Full
said.
brain right here.
Yeah, that's right.
What she said.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, where I want to wind down this conversation on is, you know, the environment is going to ebb and flow. You know, we flash forward 5 years from now, consumer trust and confidence and their perception of their ability to spend may look very different than it does right now. Is there a lesson that you feel that you've learned in this environment, in this moment, that you're going to carry forward regardless of what comes next? And I guess we'll start with you, Tori.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we've learned over the last several months is that actually ensuring that we're getting back to who we are as a brand and evolving through that lens. And I think that was spoken about through several of the speakers throughout these last 2 days. But I think that's something that just even as we hit those pressures to resonate with the modern consumer and to show up in different ways, getting back to who we are as a brand is a really good first foundational step to doing that. So again, I think the last couple years we were trying to sort of chase the trends and maybe losing a bit of who we are. Yeah, it's been amazing. We just delivered our first positive quarter in 2 years after getting back to who we are as a brand. So again, bringing the kernel back and yeah, really taking a good hard look at how we show up and listening to the consumer. So I think as we move forward, those are two things that regardless of what happens externally, that I think will continue to be helpful for us and for other people maybe too.
Never be complacent. Always be humble. As a brand, we serve our guests, we serve our communities, and that is timeless. Again, relevancy, the right message at the right time, and really understand, and the good, bad, and the ugly, because sometimes you got some ugly things going out there, and own it, learn from it, and move on. But really, it's all about taking care of your guests and your people.
Well, thank you both. Really appreciate those insights. And now we'll turn it over to you all for the hard-hitting questions that you have.
We have a question back here. Don't forget to introduce yourself, your name, your company, and I don't know, your favorite way to eat chicken.
Hi, my name's Chad Maxwell with Kelly Scott Madison. My favorite way to eat chicken is a wimpy tender on a bun.
That's okay. That's okay.
My question is about consumer confidence and portfolio product. So, obviously there's a big assortment for KFC in terms of chicken. Steph, you talked about pizza sales when you opened number 3. When you think about consumer confidence and trust and product diversification, how is chicken interacting with pizza there? And when you think about from the chicken depth that you have, do you feel like a consumer confidence challenge or upside in terms of maybe less diversification of product and the building of that trust?
Yeah, I think, and this ties to, it's why I was so curious with the Smoothie King folks about how they were kind of introducing that new format really of still healthy food and tied to the core without compromising kind of what they're currently known for. Because I think that's something that we're trying to look at as well. Again, like how do we ensure that everyone knows we've got, incredible chicken tenders while still maintaining the trust and the familiarity with our most iconic product, which is chicken on the bone, and there's still a market for. So, yeah, I don't know if that super answers the question, but I think we're kind of still thinking through that and finding that balance and figuring out how we, especially from an investment standpoint, support, educating people on our offerings outside of what we're famous for and building trust that they'll enjoy it. Yeah.
We get great credit for our pizza, so there's a halo effect. And that's why we also do a lot of advertising around our pizza, because the basket size is always larger with pizza. It's the crown jewel, we call it. So when we introduce wings, pizza and wings are such a natural pairing. They just immediately assume that they'd be great quality because we took 2 years to develop the right wing and the right equipment and the right product. So we never introduced somebody similar to like a smoothie until it's ready. And like Dairy Queen, good, you'll learn 8 years for like a s'mores. Woo, Blizzard, impressed. But I think that's the key, is the adjacencies that make sense and having the quality that's there, again, at the right price.
Yeah, that halo effect point is so interesting because I think just thinking out loud, it's like, yes, if we have the reputation for one aspect of chicken, it's probably trying to find a way to ensure that that quality message is still there regardless of, and leaning into the halo effect.
Right, yeah.
Do we have any other questions for our panelists? Going once, going twice. Tori, Steph, Doug, thank you guys so much.